Hey guys, what is going on? This is Ip of RageQuitTV. Gonna be casting a game between lisTWO and lisTWO. It is a TVP on Daybreak, and I have no clue who this guy is. LIS may be a clan, this may just be a smurf. Name makes no sense to me. He will be called 2 throughout the remainder of this cast. And Taeja, his weakest matchup I would probably say is TVP, and that kind of results from his lack of aggression. He doesn't really do that much drop harassment. He is more of a macro Terran and just depends on his micro to win battles, but that doesn't really happen in TVP. Even Blizzard has acknowledged that Protoss is really strong come the late game, but Terrans have a lot of opportunity to do harassment to delay the Protoss late game, but Taeja doesn't really take advantage of that as much as like MVP, Marine King, or other big name Korean Terrans do. He depends more on his macro, and we'll see exactly what he ends up doing. I expect him to go for a 1 Rax Expo because that is what Taeja likes doing in this matchup. For 2, no clue what he's going to do. He is not scouting after this 1 pylon, so we know it's not going to be any type of Forge Fast Expand because, well, you have to scout after the pylon to see if your opponent gets gas, because if they get gas, Forge Fast Expand just goes to hell. You can't really defend anything with the Forge Fast Expand when the Terran does have gas, because Terrans, they either get tanks, which kill cannons, they get Reapers, which bypass cannons, they get Hellions, which speed past cannons. That gas really does allow you to just completely counter the Forge Fast Expand. That's why you didn't see it in the early days of StarCraft 2, because so many Terrans would get this gas opener before going for the expand. The 1 Rax Expo is relatively new, and that's what allowed Protoss to go with the Forge Fast Expand, especially on maps like Daybreak, where you can easily just get a few cannons and be safe, because cannons are really good against Marines. But we'll see exactly what 2 ends up doing. Not scouting after his gateway, and I really don't like this call because Protoss in the early games generally is the reactive race. They need to scout the Terran to see if they're going for a 2 Rax or a 1 Rax Expo, a 1-1-1, or whatnot, so they can prepare their build. Seeing Taeja without any gas would mean that he can go for a 1 gate expand safely. If he just goes for a 1 gate expand blindly, there's always the chance Taeja 2 Rax and just goes for the win, and 2 Rax isn't really all that all in. It's just the Protoss playing greedy, especially by not scouting. We do see another gas go down. Taeja is going for that 1 Rax Expo. We do have an SCV scout out for Taeja well before the Protoss even thinks about scouting. Didn't even check around his base. So there could be a barracks building right here for all he knows. But getting the second gas, it's not going to be anything upgrade related because, well, the Protoss isn't scouting. You really need some scouting information to make upgrades work because that's a huge mineral investment, and also it's a big time investment. If Taeja did any early aggression, your upgrades were 75% done. You just wasted all that time and money for nothing. So it's not going to be any type of double forge early on. DTs is possible. Stargates, not likely. 1 base Colossus possible, but not likely. I think it's going to be more of just a lot of sentries, kind of like what we saw MC do against Holt at MLG. We do have that 1 Zealot, now going to be the actual scout. Only sees 2 Marines, so right now he should know it is going to be a 1 Rax Expo. Just seeing those 2 Marines is enough. He is going to be poking up, sees the bunker, and now will be retreating, which will allow these Marines to catch the Zealot, but there is a Stalker behind this. Stalker gets in the way of the Zealot, and the Zealot meets his demise. We do have the Protoss taking a really sneaky Expo over at that 3rd base. And now placing a pylon right here, making it look like he wants to take his natural and play this kind of standard. This is a very sneaky trick. We do have this 1 SCV, going to try to go out and scout. The sentry is down there. It does turn around. I don't know if it made it far enough to see if there was an Expo there or not. He did see the pylon. And now he's going to go around, see those double gases. And now Taeja's got to be thinking. There's no tech shown, so there could be some type of hidden tech down below the ramp, like a robo facility. So that was definitely a little bit odd. Taeja comes in the base, sees this double gas, and no other buildings. If this was a standard just 1 expansion, like didn't go for this double expand so early, you would have seen 2 more gateways already. So Taeja may be thinking something is up just because there is a lack of buildings in the Protoss base. That 400 minerals was definitely a money sink early on. That SCV scout definitely did tell Taeja that. We'll see if he ends up going to scout for the hidden Expo. Of course, it could be a robo down on the low ground. Has he used a scan? No, he hasn't. But Taeja definitely knows something isn't right here because this is high level. You wouldn't just be late on these 2 gateways for no reason. There's got to be some type of reason. The worker count is 32 probes to 30 SCVs, and this will just get out of control very soon with 3 Chrono Boost available and 3 Nexus building at probes at once. We do have Taeja moving around the map with these Marines, just looking for any forward pylons because this is the time around when Warp Gates does finish. And Taeja going to be maybe putting on pressure, still just going around the map with his force. 1 Stalker going in, and because Taeja's out right now looking for anything suspicious, that Stalker could have got in, but it does end up turning around. Meanwhile, the Robo facility is being placed right here, and this is a good place for it. Despite it being in the front lines, the cool thing about this is if Taeja attacks, the Immortal comes out right here. He doesn't, if it was built up here, the Immortal came out, and then he'd have to walk all the way down here. 15 seconds later, he's in the battle. Right now, if he comes out, he's immediately in the battle. And can you imagine if Taeja attacks this space? The Immortal would have to walk all the way from here to here. Now he only has to walk from here to here, which is nice. So I really like this Robo facility placement. We do have 2 more gates being built by 2, and we can see his sentry count is getting relatively high now. He is at 6 sentries, 2 stalkers, going to be going up on even more gases, taking both of them up here before going down to his natural. And a Robo Bay is being placed, and I'm curious to see if he's going to get a second Robo facility and go on a lot of Colossus very fast. I think he could hit some type of really good timing with double Colossus production being on 3 bases so quickly. Taeja still hasn't used a scan or scouted this, and we can see he is still just not aggressive. We'll see if he gets does any drops when the medevacs come out. I don't think he will, just because Taeja isn't that type of player, but he is moving out, so he may be thinking about doing a drop. So he hasn't started his 3rd command center yet, which could be hinting at he is going to do some type of aggression. Looks like he is going to be taking out this 1 stalker, and since the Protoss hasn't done anything with that double gas early on, Taeja really has to be thinking something's happening, because going that double gas, you'd expect DTs to be in your base right now. You'd expect to see a Stargate. You'd expect to see upgrades on these Stalkers. Don't see anything of that sort. So Taeja's got to be knowing something is going up, and maybe he saw the Observer go on his army, and that kind of tells him the timing of that Robo facility. He says, oh, the Observer's just getting over my army. That means it's just probably finished. And there's something going on here. So he goes immediately to this 1 base, taking out this pylon. And Stim goes down from Taeja, but there are so many good force fields by 2 right now. Marines trying to go up behind, but another great force field does go. And the probes actually surround the Marine and finish them off. Very nice play coming from 2 right now. That Nexus still at full HP and does repel that attack by Taeja easily with some beautiful force fields. That was absolutely amazing by 2. And then even using his workers and getting surrounds on those Marines. Nice job there. He did lose 5 workers, but again, he is on a, well, he's at 57, Taeja's at 56, so Taeja probably a little bit ahead in the econ. Well, no, he's only mining off 2 bases, so Taeja definitely not ahead on the econ. But once this 3rd base does get up, he will pull ahead, and now he is taking a double expo because he probably clicked on these mineral patches and saw how much was exactly mined, and then he can check on how much was mined on his natural. And looking at patch where a mule hasn't been, like one of these far ones, that's 1180. Going to one of these patches, that's 1205, 1150, 1235. So Taeja kind of get this sense, oh my god, that base has been up almost as long as my natural has been up. That is not good at all. So he knows, because his army just died, that he can't really put on too much pressure and expect to win the game from pressure. So he has to double expand to get back into the economic advantage, or at least catch up. We do have a single Robo facility. It looks like just producing Colossus. And Taeja is going to do a stim and try to take out this Nexus. This Sim City of buildings is not that great for 2, and that could allow Taeja to take this Nexus out. Taeja is targeting it, and the Nexus does fall, and the Marauders going to pick off a few Stalkers again. The Sim City of the buildings is not the best. Taeja does lift up, and he will be getting away. That is charge before blink on those Twilight Council. So there's blinks nowhere near, which means these drops can be relatively effective. But again, if it was any other Terran player during that engagement when Taeja was attacking right here, saying, I'm going to pull the Protoss force up here to defend against this, like it was Marine King or MVP, they'll be dropping in the main at the same time. So a small mistake by Taeja right there not to do that double-pronged aggression. We do have 2 moving out to put a little aggression on. Taeja, though, with some superb micro. You can see moving those Marines around. Little by little, Zealots, though, do go in for the flank. They do have charge. The Colossus gets tugged down. There's not much anti-air, only sentries in that one Stalker, and that allows Taeja to pick up and return back home with some reinforcements. So there is a Viking. We do have a handful of Marauders right there. That's a little bit odd position. This Oral Command will be falling. Does lift up again. Not much anti-air. Probe is down here. Just build a pylon, sees that PF. But at the same time, though, Taeja is doing damage now with this handful of Marauders. So maybe he's not going to do any damage with this. That Immortal and Zealots did clean that up. No micro whatsoever because there is an engagement here. There's Zealots on a hold position right now. Just trying to keep the vision. Does bait one of those Vikings away. And a Dark Shine did just finish for 2. And there is that pylon. Something trying to get built. The PF said, no way. Oh man, that was one of the fastest blowns I've ever seen. 2 DTs though, taking out those Marauders. The pylon does live. And do we have Marauders anywhere else? No, it doesn't look like it. And Scan did go down. Now it's gone. Another DT is getting placed. Scan goes again. And this DT is not in range. I don't know how the PF attacked that one building. And now 3 DTs going into the main base of Taeja while we have this aggression. That missile turret did not complete. Force field's going down, trapping that force, allowing 2 to disengage. The thing he wanted to do was get the DTs in. And that was what was accomplished, so he is backing off. Still has this DT doing a lot of damage, up to 11 kills. The missile turret is up. That PF will kill that DT. But there are still 2 DTs around here. And they are clumped up. That is definitely not good. This one DT attacking a supply depot. Definitely not the best control on these DTs, but they have done a lot of damage. You see 27 workers killed. Taeja did save the Oral Command that was at the 4th base, but he is taking a lot of losses via these DTs. Scan does go down, picks off 2 DTs, but there is still one more, taking away this one gas again. Not really going after the SCVs. There we go, as I do say it. Now going to start targeting SCVs. This one pylon still alive, but with the missile turret here, there's not much he can whoop in to do damage with. And behind this, I really wish too would have taken another base or even double expanded. Not taking any extra bases will mean that he's not going to be ahead in the economy as much as he should be. 35 workers though, 277 probes, so he is ahead in the economy. And there we go, the Nexus finally does get placed. And Taeja's got to do damage here. He is severely behind in that worker count. But he does have a relatively large army, about 20 supply ahead. Throws a scan, sees this one base. The Protoss is taking out these rocks. That is a lot of Zealots. And how many Colossus? Not many. No Colossus whatsoever, so these Vikings are going to be relatively useless. Thank God Taeja only has 4 Vikings. But that was a lot of Archons that did just get more. Taeja doesn't have any Ghost in his composition. Let me just double check that. No, he doesn't. Handful of units now going to go down here. That Temple Archives did just finish. Going to start researching Storm, but Taeja wants to take out this Nexus, and 2 is preoccupied with this force over here, trying to do damage here. That will allow Taeja to take out the Nexus at the 3rd base. And Taeja's going to do a lot of damage with this right here. And it looks like he may possibly even hold this force off, and taking out this Nexus was the damage he needed to do. DTs were warped in to try to clean that up, but was not successful. Taeja held that thanks to his superior army size. Going into the upgrades, he is at 2-2. Protoss is at 2-2 as well. Storm just about done. He didn't try to take out that Templar Archives. And even though we have 2 with 76 workers, he's only mining off of 1 base, so he really only has around 40 workers. And Taeja has 42 SCV, so right now, until a Nexus gets completed, the econ is relatively even right now. Force fields do go down. Taeja's got to do some micro. There we go. Going to be pulling those Marines away from those Zealots. Those Vikings still being relatively useless. Those 2 Immortals going to be doing a lot of damage right now. And this will clean up the rest of Taeja's forces, but he does have reinforcements over in the back. And 2 needs to back off, needs to get some force fields down and disengage. 1 Immortal does fall. Force fields go down, but they go behind the units and needed them in front, so he does lose all of those forces. Going over to this econ right now, just to show you, yes, it is relatively the same because of taking out this one Nexus. So until this one gets completed, which it is now, Taeja was even, if not ahead on the econ, which is really nice for him. Allows him to get back into this game. One DT is sitting below the space, so that command center cannot land without a scan. Going to be trying to build a missile turret, but the DT will put an end to that very quickly. With this base going back up, though, Taeja has to do some type of damage. It's great that he is at 42 SCVs now, but he needs to have more because the Protoss now is going to be ahead on the econ yet again. Taeja not really building SCVs after losing all of his, so not all, but half of his SCVs. Ghost Academy is up. Taeja only at 106 supply, Protoss at 141, and this will only get worse. Taeja is working on +3 armor. The Protoss has +3 attack and going for +3 armor as well. A Raven is being built, probably to deal with those DTs, but you don't see those every game, guys. So upgrades are even. It looks like Protoss will finish 3-3 first. Army size is now not in Taeja's favor. Just by 1, the Protoss is ahead. But as I said, that will just start going out of proportion once that second base does kick in. We do have a little bit of aggression down here. Medevacs do pick up a few units, and Taeja is on the back foot now, 106 to 138. I know I said second base. I know this is the 4th base. What I meant is the second mining base is up, because while this one Nexus was sniped and this one was canceled, he only had 1 mining base. And still just at 1 robo facility. But not really worried about Colossus. Going to be going more into a Charge Lot Archon mix, which is pretty good. It does go down relatively easily to a lot of EMPs, which Taeja is getting, and does allow Taeja to get a lot of Marines. Right now we can go to his composition. He has at 26 Marines, which are good against Zealots. If he was massing Marauders, this would be really good, as Marauders do low DPS to both Archons and Zealots. But Marines are pretty good against both of them. And that +3 armor for Taeja just about done. Another 40 seconds. Going to be lifting up in the Medevacs. Now going to be doing some of the first drop into the main. I think this may actually be the first drop into the main. But 2 is ready for this. Taeja immediately backs off. 1 Medevac gets feedback at the full energy, targeting the right one. Realizes, oh, blast the Observer. But now a lot of Zealots are coming. But no anti-air, no blink on these Stalkers, so the Medevac will easily be able to get away. We do have the Protoss taking yet another base. We can count 49 SCVs to 75 probes. And the Raven is gathering energy that I don't know what it's going to be good for other than picking off DTs, because the point defense drone not going to help against Zealots, Archons, or Colossus, or even High Templar. So I don't know exactly what that Raven's going to be used for other than just killing DTs. Taeja with a nice split. The Templars do get a good storm off. Handful of Marines go up, start turning down Templars. Ghosts haven't laid down their EMPs yet, and Taeja's forces are starting to get demolished. 138 supply to 108. Taeja backing off, only left with Marauders. No Ghost. I don't even think I saw an EMP go off. There may have been. But 2 right now just has the superior composition to Taeja. You can't really just have pure bio against this. I don't know what you can have, but pure bio generally doesn't work when they have Archons, Colossus, and Templars. That is 3 things that do AoE damage, and your bio doesn't have that much life. You need to have a lot of Medevacs. Maybe if you're like 9 Medevacs, you can kind of survive it, just like Terran does against fungal growths. But with just 2 Medevacs right now, this bio does not stand a chance. The Colossus will 2-volley them. The Archons will do a lot of AoE. The Storms will just be absolutely brutal. And Taeja is getting Vikings so he can deal with the 2 Colossus, which means he cannot get Medevacs, which means he's going to have a hard time dealing with this force. Zealot is going to be taken out. And we do have a beautiful concave right now from 2. If Taeja goes right here, this is like dead man zone. And this one base is up, not worrying about gas right now, just building mainly Zealots, and he wants to go in. Going to be leading with the Zealots, and Taeja pulling back in a place where the Zealots won't have good surface area on. 1 Ghost immediately gets feedback, and Taeja is clumped up. A Storm goes off, kills a lot of units. Another Storm. Taeja is eating those Storms. Those Vikings will be falling, and 162 supply to 91 supply. The Protoss just storming ahead, and Taeja yells the GGGGGG. And I think that game really does come down to Taeja not building workers. Like, He killed this Nexus, which was really good. There are two things I want to look at before we go into SC2 gears. I want to look at 10 minutes, because I think that's when Taeja did this aggression. We saw all the force fields used by 2. This was an amazing hold. I can't even explain how nice this was of 2. So going into the army supply, it is 31 to 49. Taeja has medevacs. 2 doesn't really have any DPS besides that Marauder. There's 3 Stalkers, not going to really do too much DPS considering there's 2 medevacs. And there's 5 Marauders. So there's 3 Stalkers, not going to do all that much, but this was a beautiful play. And possibly one of the best plays of the game. So we'll just watch all the force fields get placed. Gonna whoop in some units right now. Those 3 force fields allow this whooping to come. Now starting to place a maze. And this will allow the Protoss to have great attack on of Taeja's units. A lot of Taeja units do get split off here. So these force fields kind of split Taeja in half, which allows this Immortal to start picking off things. And the Immortal not doing any force targeting. And then right there, that was also a beautiful play. Did he actually click on the gas? Let's watch how fast those probes surround those Marines. That was like 6 probe pull defense. If you know what I mean. When probes just pull perfectly against Zerglings. But some great force fields by the Protoss. Now not letting Taeja leave. And boom! Insta surround on everything. And those Marines fall so quickly. And Immortal finally taking the first hits. He's been able to stay behind the lines the whole battle thanks to the force fields. Only uses 1 Immortal, cleans that force up. Going into the Lost, you can see Protoss losing a little bit more. But how far ahead is he? He's ahead in workers, has 3 bases up. This kind of starts Taeja on that downward spiral. But Taeja will snipe the Nexus. Right here, what time is this? So, losing a lot right here, going into the workers killed. These are the DTs. The game probably could have been over if these DTs were controlled a little bit better, honestly. But because they weren't controlled, that does allow Taeja to still stay in, taking out all these tech labs, which I guess are good. But he could be taking out a lot more SCVs right now. Also, having these 2 DTs clumped up so 1 scan takes them both out is another mistake. I do like this 1 DT going to the supply depot is when the SCVs started pulling away towards the army. And now going to go after the reactor, but not the best DT control. However, that does time work 16 minutes into the game. So when I go to SC2 gears, I can look at that portion. So this is lisTWO, pulling it up now. And we are in. So we're going to search the text for SCV. Filter. Why did you not filter? Oh, that's search text. Filter text. So, right here, we have Taeja, let's see, 1651. Okay. So, did I go back into SC2? Yes, I did. Let's just wait for this DT harassment to finish. Okay, I think it's done now. I don't see any DTs up. So he's lost 30 workers at 1721. So this is where he's at 30 worker net loss. We have 5, 9, 10, 12. 12 workers built right after all that harassment when he has lost 30. So he's still at a net loss of 18. Waits this long to produce more workers. He does snipe the Nexus, but doesn't kill any probes with that. So the Protoss still ahead. Temporarily, the Protoss was on equivalent economy to Taeja, as I did say in the game and showed you. But since Taeja didn't build more SCVs and didn't end the game then, That allowed the Protoss to get those bases up and return back to his old economy, which Taeja just could not handle. And I think that's what was really the deciding factor of the game, is Taeja not keeping up the SCV production after the harassment, underestimating how many SCVs he actually lost to those DTs. And then once the base got up from the Protoss, he just simply got out macroed, because the Protoss had like double his income. So not a good situation to be in. And I think that kind of sums up that game. What do you guys think? I won't do too much analysis. I want to get back to MLG, even though it's all just... I won't say anything. Almost did. But you know what I'm talking about if you're watching. 8 p.m. Not that much. There was something I wanted to look at. Oh yeah, this tab again. Let's go to units built. 175 Marines, 124 Zealots. Let's go more to the ability groups. 7 EMPs by Taeja, 8 Storms, 13 Archon Morphs, 3 Feedbacks, 39 Force Fields, 79 Chronos, 24 Mules. Not many Mules throughout that game. 12 Scans. Maybe that's a lot of Mules. I don't know. This is really 48 Chronos worth of energy. This is 24. So it does even up to the Chrono. He's been... Wait, was the Protoss really using his Chrono boost that well? Or was Taeja just using his orbitals that bad? That's half, low. Oh wait, he had more... Yeah, never mind. He had more bases, so he got a lot more energy. Not using the best on his Chronos, but yeah, that's why they've used about equivalent amount of energy, because he's always had more bases. That makes sense. Doing a relatively good job of his Chronos. That base, is that part of the hotkeys? No, only leaves these two. Nexus hotkeyed. Probably a mistake not to re-hotkey this third. I bet he had that at like 10 minutes on a hotkey. Yeah, he had that on a hotkey. When he had to rebuild it after Taeja sniped it, didn't put it back on. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the game. Take care, and I will see you tomorrow.